In today's Star Citizen Live, we found out a lot of new information about the concept work being done on the 600i. We found out that the rework is actually in concept phase right now. We found out that there's going to be a complete rework of the interior of the ship. There's only going to be some small changes to the exterior, and there's going to be another Star Citizen Live segment coming soon that should showcase all of the major changes in a much more in-depth fashion. Anyone that's been following the 600i rework since it was initially discussed, in 2020 maybe? Anyway, some of this information was already given out, right? But we did get a really cool glimpse of some of the changes that are taking place in the concept phase in this Star Citizen Live broadcast. But let's jump right into what we learned today. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment to enter to win a Crusader Spirit C1. I've put together a few shots of the current 600i and how it's laid out, and I'm going to compare those to the contrasting views of what we were shown in the concept art for the soon-to-be 600i. This first shot is the top level of the crew quarters. It's just a little bar at the very top. Walking down the ramp you see on the left, from that bar area at the top, you come to the gathering area for the crew. There's a small U-shaped couch, a little table, and really great views out the back of the vehicle where this giant glass canopy is. Moving down the steps that you see in front of the previous picture, you come to the mess hall area. This is just a small kitchen area with a couple seats and a table where the crew can eat. And opposite of the kitchen is this small seating area with a large screen monitor, and there's another table in the rear view with some plants and nice lighting. Now we contrast that with this first picture that we got from the concept art. That is, again, we're starting at the top level. It's got a lot of seating, really good viewing through. It looks like the top is going to be a glass canopy, as well as keeping the glass canopy of the rear, right? So we're going to have really good viewport out the rear of the vehicle for this part of the crew quarters. This other shot shows, basically from the opposite side, you can kind of get a glimpse downstairs where that table is. That looks like it's going to be the crew's meeting and or eating area. It doesn't show the kitchen. I'm sure they're saving a lot of it for the IAE event that they spoke of in this week's Star Citizen Live broadcast. They did mention IAE specifically, but I don't know if they're going to do a live event that showcases this before IAE or during IAE. It's always tough to tell. But that's it. Those are the only two pictures we got of the crew quarters. Because of the positioning of the old crew quarters bar versus the bar pictures they showed in the concept art, I'm not actually sure if it's going to replace the crew quarters bar or if this is going to be a separate entertainment area that's going to be somewhere else in the ship. It looks like they're trying to follow the same kind of concept and ideas behind the 890 jump in how they're going to portray a bar within this vehicle. They also mentioned the Touring Edition is going to have a swanky new hot tub area with a water feature. This looks pretty sweet. Very reminiscent of the 890 jump. Next up, we have a completely revamped armory area. It's really a dedicated area. It shows you've got some tables to do some maintenance on. You've got some storage lockers for each individual crew member's armor, probably some weapons holders as well. It looks like a much more accurate portrayal of an armory. Also take note that the armory is only available on the Explorer version of the 600i. Here's a shot of the old hangar, right? You could fit a Cyclone in it. It wasn't very optimal in how they built it. It's very cramped. It doesn't have a lot of space.
We say there was a lot of wasted space inside the 600i. There is a lot of space in there that we've claimed back with the modern way of thinking, of doing layouts. Like there's actually 3 decks in the 600i rework.
Thanks, John. I couldn't have said it better myself.
And just to make people extra happy, that cargo lift fits a Nova on there now.
Yeah, it fits a Nova?
So when I heard that part, that a Nova tank would fit in the 600i, well, it kind of sparked my interest because that's a really big vehicle. It's one of the biggest, right? I think the Spartans have a longer form factor, but not quite as wide. but it's really quite big. It's 16 meters, in fact. 16 meters from the front to the rear of that. And I thought to myself, well, there's probably a lot of other vehicles that are also around 16 meters or less. Now, the width is going to be problematic for some of these vehicles and or ships that I'm about to show you, but the length is going to work. And I think some of them, if you pull them in corner to corner on that lift, they might fit too. Let's get right into how many ships and vehicles will fit into the 600i, and some of them that need a little coercing. Starting off here, we have the Nova tank at 16 meters. We know, based on the dev interview, that the Nova tank will in fact fit. So I've got some other vehicles up here that may or may not fit. Look, the Kar2L is listed at 15 meters, but I think that might be in flight mode. When its landing gear is down, these verticals are also more horizontal to the ground, and I don't know if that'll fit. Maybe corner to corner it will, and that'll be great. The Defender also folds up, right? These arms move back. So the Defender as well changes shape significantly when its landing gear is out, and that might make it a viable choice as well, but we'll have to see. These are some ships that may or may not fit. I mean, some definitely won't. The Terrapin is too big. The Reliant Core, because of its wingspan, is too big, even though it's measured at 14.5 meters this way. The wingspan will not allow it to fit. The Hawk, it's a tough one because it may fit in a weird shape in there. If you go corner to corner or something, it might actually fit on there. The Ballista, same as the Hull A, right? These two are 17 meters long, and they're basically a rectangular shape that may or may not fit in there. We'll have to see. The Blade is 16.5 meters. These wings sort of do change shape with the landing gear up or down. Might be a tight fit, but at least it's possible. Same for the Aurora. It's 18 meters long. I'm not sure this one's really going to fit. We'll have to see the exact layout and floor plan of this hangar to see if there's any overhang that, there's any buffer zone that we can work with on the front and back. So going down over here, we've got a list of ships that most certainly will fit into this new hangar of the 600i. In fact, I'm guessing you might be able to get 2 of many of these ships into that hangar. The Pisces is an obvious fit, right? There's going to be a lot of people rolling around with Pisces in their 600i. Razor M50, the Merlins, they're all good choices as well. But note, there's at least 6 ships here that all have jump drives that could be great accessory ships to the 600i now. That's a pretty big leap from where it is, and I think that's a great move. And then, of course, we've got all the hover vehicles and ground vehicles, the Ursa Rover, all the way down to the PTV, and everything in between, right? Including some concept ships I put in there. So overall, the 600i rework is looking really good, especially for the hangar bay. When we talk about all the space that's going to be in there, there's a ton of things you can put in there. I mean, of course, cargo as well, right? But you can bring other snub fighters, other protection ships, other delivery ships as well. It's going to be a huge improvement, in my opinion.
Now, our second feature of the day is...
Origin hover tank.
We should be doing an Origin tank.
Origin hover tank.
There will be a segment in a couple of weeks during IAE where we talk a little bit more about the
Origin hover tank.
Through the layout and stuff like this. We'll show more images and maybe even a little bit about some other ships too.
Oh, hold on. Jared, you're saying that this is, in fact, confirmation of the Origin hover tank, this picture that we're seeing right now?
I think confirm this.
Well, that's kind of cool, actually, then. Jared, can you get some engineers in so we can talk about the tank and how it functions?
Now, when I was walking by your desk, so this was a prototype. So prototypes get made internally all the time. Calyx had made this one like a year and a half ago, and it was a very robust prototype. And is how's that going? Are we there? Is it done? Are you just coasting until 318 comes out?
Definitely not. There's still stuff to do, but we're we're at a really good point at the moment. It's mainly kind of putting the finishing touches on and bug fixing. I mean, a lot of it works, but a lot of it needs just some tweaks, some improvements. Yeah.
Doable. As much as I hate it, it's just something we can't do yet. So it's one or the other at the moment.
Okay.
That does make a little sad face.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it's confirmed. You're still working out some bugs, but you can't release it yet because you're probably saving it for IAA. I get it. Totally. Message heard. Understood. Thanks, guys.
This is just concept.
Just concept.
Just concept. But they confirmed this.
Hey, Jared, I was wondering if there's any way I could get an exclusive, an early release on maybe what's going to happen with this hover tank, maybe before IAA. What do you think? Any chance of that happening?
Don't overstay your welcome.
All right. Well, at least the hover tank from Origin is in fact confirmed, and I appreciate your time. Thanks.
They confirmed this. They confirmed this. They confirmed this.
Thanks for joining me for this 600i rework recap. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. Do you think the direction that they're taking with the 600i is an improvement? Or do you like the purist approach of whatever they made initially was kind of what you want? Because I think it's going to be a way better ship. But only time will tell. Thanks, guys.